Okay guys, this is going to be my last video and hopefully it ties it all together. Let's go. So guys, let's start out with the traditional or regular y equals x squared. Now watch carefully. If I was to instead say y equals x minus 3 squared plus 1, let's say, okay, what would be different? Notice, because I did a minus 3 for the x, guys, you have to understand that minus, remember, 3 would make it 0, so it's really a positive 3, right? So that minus 3 right there tells me to go right 3. If it was a plus, I would have gone left 3. What would this plus 1 do? The plus 1 means, make it 1 higher. So the plus 1 means up 1. So focus on my purple graph here, guys. What I would have done is moved it 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right and up 1 space. And right there would be my vertex. In other words, this vertex would move right 3, up 1, because that's what minus 3 plus 1 does. Okay? So, and the graph would still be the same. Okay? The graph would still be 1, 1, and negative 1, 1, and see 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the graph would be the same size. Now, what would happen though if I threw a 2 in front? Focus on my red graph there, guys. It's still minus 3, it's still plus 1, which means right 3, up 1. But what does this 2 do is it makes it go twice as fast, higher, like so. So it's gotten, as we say, narrower. I always struggle with that word, narrower. There we go. Okay. What happens if I threw a negative in front of that 2? Then it would flip down. It would still be narrow, but it would flip down. So, in a quick summary so far, what did we hopefully understand is the plus 1 at the end literally moves the graph up 1. The minus 3 inside the parentheses, that's what moves it right or left. Because it's minus, I'm going to go right 3. The number in front tells me whether it's going to get bigger or skinnier or wider, right? A bigger number means it gets skinnier. It gets narrower. The negative flips it down. So instead of opening it up, it opens down. Okay? So, let's do one more of those. Take a look at this one right here, guys. Notice we have a plus 4. So, remember, the regular graph starts at 0, 0. That plus 4 means up 4. So I literally would go up 4 spots. What does this minus 1 with the x here mean? Well, you have to think a little backwards with the x. Remember, a 1 makes it 0. So a minus 1 means right 1, a positive 1. So I would go right 1 spot. And notice that's where my vertex is, right? What does the 3 do? It's positive, so notice how it's skinnier, guys. See, a normal parabola would have looked like this. You see, I'm just rough sketching it. But because of this 3, it got skinnier in here. It got narrower again, narrower. If this was a fraction like 1/3, it would have gotten wider. Okay, so a smaller fractional number makes it wider. A larger number makes it narrower. Okay, now let's get to one more problem, guys, something a little different. Okay, let's say I gave you a regular equation. Notice this is in standard form. It doesn't have the parentheses in here. So what did I teach you guys? You must do negative b over 2a, right? This is a must. When you see it standard, you must do negative b over 2a. So notice my b here let me use red, is 32. So I'll have the negative of 32 over 2 times my a here, notice, is a negative 8. Once again, guys, please be careful with your negatives. So notice I get negative 32 over negative 16, which is 2. What does this tell me, guys? This tells me where the vertex is. It tells me my axis of symmetry. Notice my graph over here, guys. Here is line x equals 2. See how it splits this graph down the middle? Okay? That's what this 2 means. Now, the other key thing, guys, make sure you get this in your notes and you study this. What happens if they say, hey, where is the maximum value? Where is the maximum value? Well, it's where the vertex is, right? Remember, the minimum and maximum values are always where the vertex is. Okay? So, to find the maximum value, I find the vertex, which we know is at 2. So, remember to plug in the 2. And guys, I'm just going to show what I would type in my calculator here, right? Everyone agree we can type this in our calculator, negative, squares, parentheses, and all, right? And if you do it correctly, you will get 27. Now, I'm just going to do it old school here, guys. Negative 8 times 4. 32 times 2 is 64, minus 5. This is negative 32. So I do get 27 if I combine that correctly. So as you can see in my graph, guys, the maximum value is at the vertex. So 2 is 27. How do I find the 2 here? I must do negative b over 2a. One more. Pause the video, guys, and try this one. So again, notice it's in standard form. We are missing a number there, but don't let that scare you, right? We should understand that that's my b, and that right there is my a. So I must do negative b over 2a whenever it's standard form. So I get the negative of 32 over 2 times negative 16, right? Because this is my b, that's my a. That's negative 32 over negative 32, which is 1. Notice my graph over here, guys. My vertex is at 1, right? Now, how do we find the 16? Very important, guys. How do we find this max value? Because you're not going to be allowed to graph it and use Desmos, okay? So how do we find that max value? We plug in that number 1, right? We plug in the 1. And if we do our math correctly, you're going to use a calculator here. But I'm just going to do it old school. Power first is 1 times negative 16 is negative 16. 32 times 1 is 32. And as you can see, that is 16. So the vertex is at 116. That is our maximum value. Okay? So how do you find the max? You have to understand that's the vertex. How do you find the vertex? You must do negative b over 2a. If you study and watch all of this, guys, you will get an A on this part of the quiz. See you in class.